I'm Davin, and this is Deep Six, a hard science web series with no green screen. Now for this series, we're doing something really different. We're going to be using miniatures, just like in the 70s in Star Wars, just like in 2001, we're going to be building our own stuff from scratch. Now why are we doing all of this? Because we care so much about science, we care so much about the story we want to tell you, we want it to be beautiful, we want it to be real, and we want it to be inspiring. Deep Six is a story about 250 astronauts that are out on a base. And this base, what's special about it is that it's in another star system, telling the story of our first attempt to put our feet on planets outside of our own system. We are trying to put science back into science fiction. I did study engineering physics back in the day, and I've always watched a lot of sci-fi, and it's great, it's so entertaining. I mean, I love it so much. But no one's ever really pushed it over into real physics and real science, except for going all the way back into the 60s, where you've got 2001, but I mean, that was filmed before we had been on the moon. If you watch Star Wars or even Star Trek, you're gonna notice that everything is kind of doing these kind of patterns. Well, that's something you do if you have air to cut through. Even if you don't, just the amount of fuel you would use to make those maneuvers is too much. Shows like Battlestar Galactica actually try and address this. Our attempt was to, in every way that we can, given the confines of a really small budget, push ourselves to try and accurately represent just the beauty and the majesty and the terrifyingness of space. It is so empty and so black and so cold and such a rich environment to tell dramatic stories. Some of the ways that we're going to push ourselves on the show is things like building and filming miniatures, which is really tricky. I don't know if you can tell, but there's dust particles in the air between you and I right now. When we're filming our miniatures, we have to think of things like that. That's how crazy it is to do what we're trying to do. One of the most important things on Deep Six is that we take the science in the show and we try and push it wherever we can, as far into the realm of real physics, real science, real math. So one of the things that I need to do is work with people who actually know those things. And we've brought in our friend, Jamie Matthews. Dr. Jamie, thank you so much for joining me here on the set of Deep Six.
It's a pleasure. I am the resident rocket scientist on Deep Six. I'm a professor of astrophysics at the University of British Columbia in Vancouver, Canada, and I'm the mission scientist for Canada's first space telescope, which has actually observed the planetary system in which Deep Six is set, the Tau Ceti system. My job is to make sure that the science fiction contains real science. And today, the science of exoplanets and astrobiology is rapidly catching up with science fiction.
And if you want to see actually where Jamie's input is going to affect the scripts, it's not just lip service. One of the perks is that you get sort of a script with handwritten notes in from the director. You're going to see an earlier version of the script before we talk to Jamie, and those notes are going to reflect all the changes that he brought and all the ideas that he brought that we're going to write right in there, and you'll see how we kept pushing closer and closer towards real science. Every good crowdfunding campaign has a message. Well, ours is that you get to join us and you get access to us starting day one. Now, what does that mean, day one? Well, if you're watching this on the Monday when the campaign launches, that's the first day that we're rolling cameras. Now, what do I mean by access? I mean you get to see our scripts, you get to see our notes, you get to see our process. You might even be able to get to join us here on set, and you definitely will get videos just like this from set every day showing you in real time how we're preparing to make this show. Now, since it is day one, I don't actually have any footage from the show to show you. What I do have, though, is a tonal teaser that I created for our crew a couple months ago, and I thought we'd show you that right now. Please enjoy.
The dream. To walk among the stars and find that we belong. First we built towers of steel and fire to set our feet on another world. Then we sent machines to the stars, riding on the wings of light, and we found life. We came from the stars, and now we will return. Be a part of the great adventure and support the men and women of Deep Station 6.
If you come back to this campaign page on a daily basis, we're going to be posting new content all the way through the entire campaign, all the way up till January 31st, which is the last day that we're here shooting Deep Six. Also, if you wouldn't mind sharing the campaign with a friend, we'd really appreciate it. We can really use your support. Thank you so much, and I look forward to showing you all of the series as soon as we've put together our show, Deep Six.